not holding anything back, playing their best game as well. So, they're attacking first here. Wavecheck do have, the unfortunate position of rebuffing them, but they're holding the high ground. Again, it is still possible for them to pull out, some pretty incredible plays.
And so they're going to make it around. They're going to force Wavecheck to rotate onto the objective proper, and they're going to meet them at the exact same time. Team Envy really want to win this outright. If they're able to get this first point, first fight, capture, it really sets them up for success later on down the road. The healing has already been used. The armor pack went on to Lessard a little earlier, and the team comes together. They come together and find those kills. Wavecheck might be losing this first point on this first fight.
Something that I've noticed, not just in this map, not just in the last map, but through this entire series, is Lulsish gets incredible value from his fire strikes. On Anubis, he got a twofer. 1 strike, 2 kills. And Wavecheck, it's not 100% on the shoulders of Crackalacken, but divas are a really big part of just gobbling up those projectiles before they can cut your team down.
Good stuff. That's exactly what you want to see. Lulsish got a little ahead of himself, gets isolated. Jade gets the final blow, but that was definitely a team type of kill. That's going to force Team Envy to lose all of the momentum that they got on that first fight. They're going to have to wait now to get onto the payload for everyone to come back. Wavecheck putting up that defense, and they're going to come up on those ultimates.
And they got pretty good positioning here, too, on the high ground. Elivo going to help them onto the ground. Shatter gets nothing.
Well, and the hard part for Luft, too, was when you're shattering, your shield's not up, so the brick could come in and bash you, which is exactly what happened. He didn't die off of the initial bash, but when you get CC'd like that and all the focus has to be on the Reinhardt rather than everything around you, casualties will take place, and that's exactly what happened for Team Envy. Now with those 5 almost check marks on line, Wavecheck potentially with 5 of their own, so now it's going to be who's going to use their ultimates better.
Exactly, and that's a really difficult thing because Hegon coming straight from spawn, not going to be very high energy. Do you want to throw out the grab when, Team Envy might not be expecting it? No, Envy strikes first.
Oh, really good pin coming from Lulsish, separating Luft from the rest of Wavecheck. There's no way he was going to survive that after that pin. Wavecheck also still depleting those health bars now. Crackalacken getting Team Meg. Team Envy are going to continue their way here on Street phase. Wavecheck ceding that space.
A really interesting grab from Hegon. Luft had already fallen in that fight from Sharp's earlier grab, so a really big investment when you have a chance to potentially hold right before point B. So Wavecheck now going to have to try and do this 5v6, a really difficult thing, but they're going to surge out with the rally.
Jade, you're low, so is Doobie, and now you're all on the ground. Elivo got set up with that Earthshatter, didn't even need it, I don't think, but it's a really fancy way of winning a fight. Team Envy are going to open up the third point. 5 minutes on the clock, pretty much.
Ooh, cracking it right open. Crimzo right here, just taking a little bit of time to express himself on the cart. Wavecheck had no idea what hit them. That was really unfortunate. You could tell that they weren't prepared for Team Envy to hit them with that bomb shatter combo, and that's the difference between these two teams so far. Both all 12 players experienced and capable, but Team Envy doesn't hesitate. They have that experience.
That's a great example of what we just saw, that lack of hesitation coming in from Ellie, though. He saw a potential victim, right? And he boosted down, got him, and was able to get back into a safe spot once more. That unbridled, aggression that you can use when you have this kind of momentum on a map like this.
Absolutely, and now Sharp is on the high ground as well. Wavecheck need to expend so many resources to displace the Zarya. They do, but now they have the more difficult task of rebuffing Envy. That's a shield down, forces the transfer from Crimzo.
The slow motion bomb from Crackalacken actually going to get a kill onto Lulsish. He's only 3% away from that Earthshatter. Now the Sound Barrier going to keep everyone alive from Wavecheck, but there are no more ultimates. Team Envy, they know they have a lot of time on the clock. There's no reason to invest in a losing fight. They're going to cede that space. Wavecheck win that defense.
A little bit of palms, sweaty mom spaghetti here for Wavecheck, sitting at no ultimates as of right now. Rally coming in soon, and Team Envy not going to hold back at all.
Ooh, that was an interesting angle coming from a Lulsish on that Earthshatter, but the charge is going to follow up anyway, take Luft out of the fight. They've already taken 2 members out from Wavecheck. The D-Mech, though, onto Team Envy means that the defense matrix is not going to be there. That grab was free for Wavecheck, but they're unable to follow it up. They needed to try to do it at that point in time. Wavecheck lost a couple members. If it wasn't then, they were going to lose anyway, so why not use your cooldowns when you're alive? Hegon
right there, trying his best through a very late grab, but unfortunately, even if the positioning was all right, nobody was around to really capitalize. And this is something that I've noticed with WaveCheck again and again throughout today's series is while, their ultimate usage is not necessarily suspect at that time, their positioning never allows them to really capitalize on it quickly, right? The throughput damage always comes 6 seconds later, and at that point Team Envy have already rallied to save that person. They've already gotten out of the way, what have you. WaveCheck need to try and find those situations where they can gang up on an individual member of Team Envy, because that's how you're going to be winning these fights outside of those big tank ultimates. And Team Envy have just been, circling the wagons really well. Nobody is ever really vulnerable to that kind of tactic. WaveCheck haven't been able to do that. They've been on the other side of the aisle, finding themselves in a 1v3, in a 1v2, and that's always going to be a losing battle.
Well, we can't take it away from them. A couple times they were able to isolate Wolfsich specifically. I think every time that we've seen, someone get picked off, it was Crimzo that one time, and then Wolfsich the 2 other times. But, you could count on one hand when they've been successful at isolating that. And yeah, that could be more on Team Envy just knowing how to play together really, really well, rather than WaveCheck not understanding how to isolate. I'm sure Envy is one of the hardest teams to isolate in terms of getting those kills, but WaveCheck have done it before, and Wolfsich has been the one that they've done it too. So let's see if they're going to be able to catch that pattern and potentially punish Wolfsich for playing a little overconfidently.
Absolutely. Team Envy have been caught with their pants around their ankles before, so you just need to stay constantly vigilant against WaveCheck. No surprises here, more Goats v Goats mirror matchup, Team Envy on the high ground, so it's probably going to be a bit of that dance around that first corner unless WaveCheck decide to go around the back through that mega room. Oh, that's going to be a quick trip back to spawn instead.
Well, and they're actually pushing him right into spawn. Is Juby going to be taken down as well? Crimson, the only one with kills so far in this round for Envy. Sharp going to find himself one on the board. Team Envy pushed all the way back to spawn. They're going to cede that space. You're going to charge all the way back. They want that high ground once more. Are they going to be able to get there? It looks like they will.
Yeah, very likely here. And WaveCheck, this is a pretty tough place to be. No ultimates, so what do we do? Do we go for that slow push, see if we can break some barriers, see if we can draw some bubbles out, see if we can draw out that heal pack, or do we just barrel into Team Envy and see if we get lucky? Looks like they're going to try and pressure the point. No, they're going for the rotation, but they get caught.
Oh my goodness, it's just like they all make a decision, they make it at the same time, and this time around it was Wolfsich, remember? So we said at the beginning, if there's someone who you can, take advantage of right now, it's Wolfsich, and that makes sense because he's the newest member of this Team Envy squad, and they do take him out of the fight, but it's still a 5v5.
Yeah, absolutely, but Team Envy, they have a trump card here. Wolfsich nearly has that shatter. If he can come back and get all of WaveCheck from behind, Team Envy just need to hold down the fort until that point, but it's going to be way harder to do without Crimson.
Yeah, Elievo trying to escape with his mech, and he's going to be the only one pushing that point. WaveCheck going to be grabbed at this point, and they're going to have some good momentum going into Street Space with 6 ultimates.
Yeah, that's a massive ultimate bank for WaveCheck. They didn't use anything to take that point, and I love this. This is such good news for any WaveCheck fans because Team Envy, what was their strength in the past, their aggressive Reinhardt, has now been turned back onto them. WaveCheck punishing them for that overextension. Sometimes the lack of hesitation is a good thing, but not when WaveCheck's expecting it.
Exactly. So Team Envy having 5 ultimates, pretty soon. WaveCheck already with all 6, so they have a slight advantage here before everything happens. The shield dash goes through. Earth Shatter knocks Crimson and Elievo onto the ground. Sound barriers there as well. Look, Wolfsich is getting isolated once more, but now the Transcendence healing is there to keep him alive, and he goes down in the end anyway once that Transcendence completes.
Yeah, really good grab from Hegon. Patient. This is the mark of an experienced team. I hope we see this more. It's not just throwing out a grab when Team Envy are caught in a tiny room. It's waiting for that trance to die down so you can absolutely secure that fight. And WaveCheck come out of that brawl with still 2 check marks, 1 more nearly online. And Envy now giving up Streets phase distance a lot more than they might have wanted.
Sometimes teams will just give it up until they feel confident in their defensive position. Selfisher coming into the back line. They weren't prepared for that. Is WaveCheck going to continue on this payload?
Yep, and some more stuff here from Sharp. Only 52 HP. He's going to try and escape with his life if possible. And it looks like he... Oh, nope. Spoke a little bit too soon. Good chase from WaveCheck to guarantee that Zarya kill. Now, Sharp going to have to start from 0.
Yeah, wave check, pound for pound, keeping up with Team Envy right now. Team Envy washed through the streets phase, and so far, wave check is doing the same, but Lessard getting that pick with that fire strike kill. That value being found once more. Wave check are going to have to cede that space, and that feels so bad because they were playing so well. The momentum was 100% on their side. They were probably going to lose the next fight anyway, looking at those ultimate charges.
Yeah, most likely, but you'd still like to be able to hold on to this high ground if possible. Crackalacken going to get in Elivote's face, try and knock him down, but Elivote staying strong here. He has a perfect position to drop that bomb whenever he wants.
Let's see when it's going to happen. Elivote has gotten a couple kills on that bomb, but the last one was from Crackalacken. He was able to open up that point, but now Team Envy have found themselves in this really nice defensive position. They're feeling good about it. Earthshatter going, and 3 members are on the ground, and the focus fire was there as well. Luft tried to use Shatter in response, but is going to get canceled. Team Envy, 4 kills.
Sometimes you just get that good Shatter combo in, and there's nothing that your opponents can really do, even if they had those support ultimates at the ready. That's a pretty tough loss for Wave Check, because at this point now the cart has backslid probably back around that first corner. They got to start all over again with significantly fewer ultimates. Sound Barrier online though, and Trance at the ready for whenever Sharp throws his grav out, but that means Wave Check going to be playing reactively.
Graviton Surge is going to be thrown out this time around from Sharp to start things off, and is going to find that kill onto Jade. 64 now for Team Envy, and this is, you know, the same thing from the last fight where Team Envy finds that initial pick and then lets that snowball into a defensive win.
I do like how Team Envy approached that grab, though. A lot of teams just throw out that grab, start throwing in damage, maybe try and break the shield, waste the matrix in the grab duration, but a much more surefire way of guaranteeing kill, isolating an individual member of your opponent's team, is by charging them out of that grab, whereupon the rest of your teammates fall on them and just bury them in the ground.
Rip them like pulled pork, right? Team Envy gonna get that initial pick once more. It's gonna be Jade again. You know, when those habits start forming, you just want to make a different mistake, right? It's not like, you know, sometimes it's hard to fix it in the game, but you want to see Jade. It kind of reminded me of Buck from last season, right? It's like, if someone dies first really frequently, that's on you at that point. So Jade, you gotta adjust your play just a little bit, because it was fine just a minute and a half ago.
Yeah, exactly. That's a kill, that's a pick that Wave Check cannot afford. They only have 30 seconds left here. They do have a couple of tools here, Bob and Sound Barrier, but that's no guarantee of a one fight against a team like Envy, especially since Lush is coming in on his Earthshatter. Everybody has to, you know, play together, but more importantly, stay alive before that full engage. Yeah,
his shatters have been brutal as well. We're going to see another brutal one forcing out that Sound Barrier. But the self-destruct wasn't quite there just yet for Elivote. He gonna get that kill onto Lolsa, so it's a 65. Crimzo unable to save his tank from certain death there with that Transcendence, and now Elivote's self-destruct is going to go through, but isn't going to find a kill. Crackalacken, though, getting DMX is going to make things a lot harder for Wave Check to maintain their presence on. Actually, no, looking at the screen right now, everyone is separated from Team Envy right now, so Wave Check actually have a really great opportunity of picking the members of Team Envy off, and that's exactly what we're seeing.
Yeah, they're taking them apart piecemeal right here, despite that earlier canceled Shatter from Luft. He's 75% up to 1 once again. Hegon picking up the pieces. And Wave Check now are going to get that point B and continue their march through Hollywood. Really unlucky stuff. You know, sometimes even as polished of a team as Team Envy, just the circumstances force you to back away from your team, hope that they can hold down the fort before until you get there, and it doesn't happen. Sharp again down now, and Team Envy gonna have to give up a considerable amount of space before they can regroup.
Another beautiful pick on the 2 Sharp coming in from Wave Check, so it's going to give them some free distance on this payload. They still only have a minute left, though, so most likely it will be an overtime if they finish this map, unless they wipe Team Envy in the next 2 fights. So that's very hard to do against a team like Envy. The rally is there. Jar is going to be using it. Another Shatter is going to knock 4 onto the ground from the Wave Check. Team Envy have gotten this defense, but it's one of those situations where if you're Envy, you kind of want that to go a little slower, because there's still one more attack coming in from Wave Check.
Exactly. It'll be more chaotic if you can string out the attackers one by one. Wave Check, Luft, he's been taken advantage of so many times this series, but now he has the opportunity to show Envy what's what, who's really the biggest Rhine here. It rests upon his shoulders.
The Earth Shatter goes through, gets Crimzo and Jaru onto the ground, but the pin is going to separate Crackalacken away from the rest of the fight. But because they don't have their Reinhardt, everyone else is going to fall by the wayside. WaveCheck also bringing in to the last fight potentially 4 ultimates to cap the last point. Team Envy need to win one more fight. They've kind of let WaveCheck back into this.
Yeah, this is a really difficult thing. Jade has rally, Team Envy don't, so they either need to back up and cede some space to avoid getting damaged, or they have to potentially pop a supportive ultimate. There goes that rally and the gobbled up grab.
That is absolutely beautiful coming in from WaveCheck. They're actually going to get those picks. Elivote needs to find kills, and everyone is going to find cover just in time. And right before getting into the mech, Elivote's going to be unable to eat his the grab of himself because he was getting into the mech. Really good timing coming in from T-Gon, and we're looking at a map completion coming in from WaveCheck. Unfortunately, I think, do they get another minute, even though they ended up with no
how much
time
time
on the
did
clock?
Envy have? It depends.
They do
They
not.
don't.
So WaveCheck have lost the series because the best that they can do is a draw on these 4 map sets. The best they can get is a 2-1. So Envy have won this out, but WaveCheck should be very proud of themselves, even if they force a draw here, to draw this map out of Team Envy. That's super exceeding expectations coming in from WaveCheck.
Exactly. This is, again, only the first step in this season. So WaveCheck bringing it to Envy in those last couple of seconds of Hollywood. And it all started off with that rally from Jade. And Team Envy, they tried their best to react, but maybe they're just like, I think WaveCheck maybe got this right here. They tried their best, but unfortunately, even with a diva of Elivo's caliber, you're not going to be able to hold that point by yourself. So WaveCheck now do have yet another opportunity to rebuff Team Envy. They got to do it for over 3 minutes, and they can only give up 1 tick. So positioning is going to be key here, managing your cooldowns. If a bomb long distance comes in from Elivote and Higan already burned that self bubble, well, it's probably just game over at that point. So WaveCheck have to play, quite cautiously.
Any casualties from WaveCheck will pretty much give Team Envy that tick, is Luft already going to get to 50% because of a fire strike of his own hitting Crimzo.
Very nice stuff here. That's 70% up to an ultimate. 1 ultimate up to a potential 1 defense. Never say never. Team Envy, though, again, not showing any hesitation here. The classic trademark of this team are going to back up just a little bit as WaveCheck drop down to meet them.
Oh, Lolsish is actually. This is something that we don't quite see from Envy. WaveCheck didn't quite overcome what their bad positioning, but Envy was separated there. That's something we don't see from them very often, but they do end up winning. I'm just wondering if another team could have taken advantage of the positioning from Team Envy, because there were 3 on one side, 3 on the other. They are going to win at this map, but it was not clean coming from our defending champions for this group.
No, Envy maybe getting a little bit too relaxed as that map went on, but they do take the win, and with that, the series against WaveCheck. It's so unfortunate. You saw that. You're absolutely right. Team Envy did get a little bit separated. Some of them taken really low, forced up the stairs, but WaveCheck was more vulnerable, which is the unfortunate thing. Jade was taken extremely low and was forced to back up towards that mega room behind the point, and Envy saw that and pounced on the opportunity, immediately took him down.
Yep, so Anubis and Hollywood much closer than I think, again, most people would expect. And we just got to give props to our Trials teams. I think a lot of people coming in here were a little worried. 6 people get in. But so far, all of our Trials teams have been competitive in all of their games. WaveCheck is down 3-0 right now, 0-3, and they have lost, but Anubis went to extra innings, Hollywood went to extra innings. It's not like this has been a cakewalk for Team Envy.
No, and they could have potentially held WaveCheck before even finishing this whole point, but WaveCheck were able to just come back in here, show a bit more of that grit, use the tools that they had to their advantage.
Team Envy still trying to figure out exactly how to play around their new Reinhardt player Lolsish. There has definitely been some growing pains involved, because if the one that has been a little weaker in terms of getting isolated is Lolsish, who is dying first a lot of the time, and in GOATs the Reinhardt dies first very frequently.
He's
right?
your biggest most vulnerable target, but
in the end you don't want that to happen as frequently as it has been happening, especially against a team that you're expected to demolish from many people's expectations. But again, WaveCheck should be very, very, very proud of themselves throughout the entire series. It has been way more competitive than one might think, and let's see if it's going to continue on here in Havana, because this has been, tight at points.
Yeah, and Havana, a new map, offers some opportunities to wave check here. We've seen the gamut of strategies from the teams that have played so far today. We've seen Bunker, we've seen Tracer, we've seen Widow, Pharah, Ball, Goats, of course. So it's really, up to either of these teams to pick what kind of composition they feel most comfortable with. We know that Envy, more likely than not, is going to just pick that standard Reinhardt, Zarya, Goats composition that they excel at. WaveCheck, a little bit more up in the air. We've seen Luft mostly on the Rhine. We don't know yet how proficient his Orisa is, but that's an option here, especially as WaveCheck are defending first. But nope, it's going to be a bit more Goats composition. Now, Team Envy can certainly take advantage of this here. They've won the Goats v Goats head-on battle more times than not.
I actually think that's a really impressive thing that WaveCheck is doing, is they've been going up against what people would say is one of the best Goats key teams in North America at the very least, right? They're going Goats v Goats against them, and they've been keeping it close. So again, WaveCheck should feel very proud of themselves coming in here on Havana. Luft getting taken low. Oof. The ally bubble has already been used. Elliot's the only one that's in danger territory right now, but the healing will be there. Kraken's out of that mech. This is Team Envy's fight.
Yeah, Kraken unfortunately used the boost to try to go in and save his tanks, but got caught out in no man's land himself without a lifesaver. No chance here. Hegon, the best that he can do is try and escape, but nope. Lulzish, he's just working on that charge accuracy. There is a chance for WaveCheck to come back in here, especially now that Kraken is back in his mech, but Team Envy not only have Rally, but they have Transcendence when things get really hairy.
Well, again, when you hold up close like that, you're pretty much guaranteeing yourself a second opportunity for defense, but you will be at an ultimate disadvantage, most likely, if you lose that first, up close defense so quickly. Panic, though, gonna get that pick, and once again, it's on Lulzish. So, history is kind of repeating itself. When WaveCheck finds success, it's because Lulzish is off of the fight.
Exactly. And while, of course, you could argue that, hey, my Diva should be peeling for me, my Zarya should be bubbling me, that's not something that you can 100% count on 100% of the time. And WaveCheck have, reclaimed this corner. This is good stuff. Team Envy have not capped point A just yet, though they do have the tools to do so. Jade, though, trying to usher his team forward with this rally. Nice shatter!
Nice shatter coming in from Luft. Lulzish once again is going to get first blooded. They're really focusing him down. That's exactly what we want to see, right? We thought that might be the key to success for WaveCheck, and right now they're opening a bunch of doors because those keys are working.
Absolutely, and they're showing, no fear right here, and that's what I love. WaveCheck, they look reinvigorated here on Havana, and as they say, half of my heart is in Havana. And WaveCheck now, they're going to have both of those support ultimates able to match Envy ult for ult.
And so we're seeing one of those tried and true self-destructs, just naked going into the back line, unable to get that kill. And now Crimzo going to find a return kill onto Luft. So Team Envy now, they didn't have to use very much to get this pick, so they're going to hold on to those checkmarks, hold on to that ult economy, going into potentially the last fight to capture point A.
Yeah, that was a really great charge from Lulzish, forcing Luft into the far Envy backline. There was no hope for WaveCheck to save him. So, a really good setup by that grab and a really good play, a really good charge from Lulzish has nearly netted them this point A. WaveCheck, though, need Hegon's grab to land. They need this to be big.
Oh, Lulzish is going to shatter right into the shield of Luft. Graviton Surge now might make things interesting coming in from WaveCheck. Luft, though, going to get taken down. 6v5 now for Team Envy, who had to use everything that they had at their disposal to try to capture this point. It's looking like they will.
Where did that grab go? Hegon now threw that in the middle of the fight, but it wasn't anywhere near the payload. Excuse me, rather, it was exactly on the payload. Holy cow! But yeah, Team Envy again, kind of just playing this really standard Goats, but very clean Goats.
And cleanliness and consistency is what brings you victories, specifically here in Contenders. When you think of the great teams, Fusion University, Team Envy last season, and honestly, Atlanta Academy near the tail end, they were playing very clean and they were playing consistently. And that's really going to separate you from the good teams into the great teams. Team Envy definitely have already assured themselves a spot as a great team, but WaveCheck trying to climb back in. Lulzish once again, dies first. Crimzo will follow. Team Envy also had an ultimate advantage here, so WaveCheck going to be winning a fight they had no business to win to start things off.
It was a really good boop from Fire to, push Luft onto the low ground, but he made lemonade out of lemons, turned around and shattered 3 members of Team Envy, and now WaveCheck have held. What do you know? Some really good stuff, some heads-up play from the main tank of WaveCheck right there. And Team Envy, again, this just goes to show you cannot sleep on these Trials teams. Next fight, also going to be a tough one for Envy to win here. Keegan is ready with that grab. He has all the energy in the world. Crackalacken ready with his bomb as well. A lot of blind corners here for him to take advantage of.
Yeah, Wolf is trying to get to that Earth Shatter. There is some CC going on. Keegan's going to go ahead and use that Graviton Surge. Self-destruct combo. The bigger bang does make some real estate. So Sharp is going back to spawn. 65 now for WaveCheck. Let's see what kind of grit Team Envy has to try to pull this thing out, because they're in a position where they can't really escape. And Ellivote's going to get Team back to follow things up. And it wasn't in time. That sound barrier fire, though, getting a pick on to Luft does make things a little interesting for Team Envy. It's not over just yet, especially since WaveCheck did layer those support ultimates on top of each other. Keegan, though, going to get 2 more picks. Team Envy going to have to try one more time. WaveCheck putting up an amazing defense so far here in Havana.
Oh, did you see that swooping charge from the high ground? Lolsis was able to lay Keegan onto his back, and Crackalacken swooped in, booped him off course mid-air, and that charge went nowhere. What an incredible amount of, team play coming in from WaveCheck right now, especially from Kraken, who will still have this bomb in hand. Keegan has already earned yet another grab.
Yeah, so Keegan's grab could be the game changer here, and we're down to less than a minute against, this Team Envy offense, and there's one more opportunity for Team Envy. They have got to win 2 more fights to finish this point, too. The Transcendence is going to be there. Team Envy really want to win this one this time around. The Kraken lacking the Kraken ain't lacking, that's for sure. Ellivote going to find a return kill, but that's not going to be enough. There still is 21 seconds left. That is enough time for a couple members from Team Envy to touch, but that might not be enough.
They're only going to be able to touch at this point. Crackalacken is not letting them get out of dodge for free. Team Envy going to swap Crimzo onto the Ana. Desperation time. They know Panic has this Transcendence. They're going to hang all of their hopes on shutting this Trance down. Sharp, so close to this grab. They need this to work.
5 members so far for Team Envy on the payload right now. They have to find that initial pick if they want to find themselves a victory here. At least there's a Transcendence for WaveCheck to counter the Sharp Graviton Surge that's going out right now. A good grenade is actually going to keep Team Envy alive and keep some of WaveCheck in a check themselves. Earthshatter going to knock a couple onto the ground. Team Envy are staying alive in this fight against WaveCheck. They finally find a victory here in this second phase of Havana. They did not leave their hearts in East Atlanta.
No, it's not like he came in that room and said whatever he said. I forget now the lyrics. But Team Envy, off the back of a desperation swap on from Crimzo onto that Ana, able to make things work, and they've drawn nearly everything out of WaveCheck. Still an Earth Shatter left from Luft. Whew, very close.
Oh, and good heads-up play from Team Envy to let Crackalacken fall asleep onto the ground. Sound barrier now keeping WaveCheck up and alive. The armor from Team Envy doing exactly the same. Unfortunately for WaveCheck, they did layer both of those ultimates on top of each other. Earthshatter gonna go down. Ellivote Jaru on the ground. Kraken gonna find another kill with that self-destruct. Sometimes you see 2 or 3, and sometimes 1 is enough. Not this time around, as Kraken gonna find himself taking a nap in the back there, and Team Envy gonna find that point. 2 points now for them on Havana. This attack continues.
Ooh, they were sweating just a little bit. It was not a done deal right there. It took everything that Envy had in their banks in order to win that last fight. Lulsish now going to be coming back in here with that Earth Shatter. So far, these anti-nades have been paying huge dividends. Crimzo, 45% up to yet another nano boost. They're going to need this anti to try and shut something down, because WaveCheck have the grab ready, and no trance available for Team Envy.
Oh, Luft is taken very, very low. The Graviton Surge is thrown blindly, I think, onto the payload. It actually looks like it might work. Kraken almost gets booped off. Lulsh just actually do the same thing. Oh, Kraken has the boosters to get back onto the payload. A couple almost environmental kills. Fire going to get a boost kill onto Jade. Team Envy also has the nano, so if they want to keep someone on the payload, they can by giving them a little extra beef with that grandma's juice.
Yeah, Granny Juice giving you all the strength in the universe. Wave check now down. No tank ultimates available as of yet. Team Envy themselves also working up to that grab and shatter. This might just have to be won the old-fashioned way. Bomb v Nano is what my grandma always said. That is the tools available for either of these sides. Crack-a-lackin', he hasn't found a ton of big bomb kills so far. He might just use it to try and buy a bit of space. It is very difficult for Wave check to try and contest Team Envy here, especially if they're able to get control of this high ground. As we see Elivo swoop up.
Oh, look at the support coming in from into Jaru. The pin might not be enough to take Sharp down, and the grenade actually landed on Sharp, but it wasn't enough to increase that healing to keep him alive. 2 kills now coming in from Wave check, 6v4. Team Envy now are in desperation though to try to finish this map, and that's going to help out. Elivo going to get that kill onto Juby. The Transcendence is going to keep a lot of Wave check alive. Is that going to be enough of a tempo shift onto Wave check's side to take down Team Envy? The spawns are going to be better for Wave check as well.
Oh, yes, but Wave check, they just can't finish out this plate. They actually fall. Jade is down now. Graviton Surge, no capitalization at all. These are opportunities Wave check cannot bungle.
Oh, Lolsich, though, misses an opportunity for himself. That Earthshatter not really hitting anybody, and Wave check starting to change into those desperation characters. The ones that have, they gotta move fast, just like Sonic. Jade using that 76 to try to get back on it to the payload. We might actually see a completion here from Team Envy.
I'm thinking it's likely. Crimzo throws out the nano boost as well. Lolsich charges Hammond back into his own spawn. Luft can't even make it to the cart before falling. And man alive, Team Envy turning things around in the very last second.
Apologies for that sound, everyone who's wearing headphones that I just made. It's not a sound I make very often. That was a super, super cool pin kill in spawn onto the Hammond, the one that could be that nuisance on the payload.
Exactly, and what a nuisance Team Envy was in those last couple of fights. Wave check, they just weren't able to find that focus fire, that target prioritization. Team Envy stayed alive for ages against all odds. They had no right to, with the man advantage that Wave check had on them. They just weren't able to find those frags.
Well, once again, Wave check, unfortunately, they play close up until overtime, right? And Envy somehow find a way to capture those points. Lolsich, for the first, minute of that second phase was getting picked off every time. But then everything changed, right? Yep. He was like, I'm going to change something. I'm going to make a different mistake, or I'm going to just actually fix my mistake that time around. And Lolsich leading his team to the end. 3 points here on Havana. Remember, this is a pretty defensively focused map, and so completing the map is really good news if you're a Team Envy fan.
Exactly, and now Wave check themselves have the unenviable task of also finishing out Havana, and they can't just think about finishing out Havana once, because if they do so, they're just going to be thrown into yet another round of Havana once again. So Team Envy right now have to be feeling fairly comfortable. Jaru on this Sombra, again, like all Sombras, going to be looking for that early EMP, those early hacks. You want to play Sombra almost as the Tracers of old, right? You don't need to go for those one clips onto the Zenyatta, but if you can be obnoxious Mosquito, keeping, Juby and Panic from doing what they want to do, then you're doing your job.
Voltage so very low. The healing is there, but not for long, as he's going to be taken down. Jaru was a stun, is going to find himself a way back to safety. Fire's probably going to go down next. That he does. 2 casualties for Team Envy on this up-close defense. But, it's kind of like what you see right now. We've seen it in every game of Havana so far. I don't think the up-close defense has worked, or we've seen two defenses up close just yet. We might see it in the future, but this time around, Team Envy is going to have to cede that space.
Jaru only 50% up to that EMP as well. You'd hope that the Sombra are able to survive a little bit longer in the backline, because if she's not hacking and throwing in damage, you're essentially playing a 5v6.
Team Envy taken low once again. Crimzo was able to get to that Transcendence, so he's going to feel safe. The team should feel safe. If Egon is able to get to the Graviton Surge, which he will have very shortly. Shark's going to have his first. Panic does not have a Transcendence, so this is a really good opportunity for Team Envy to grab a really good defense, but no casualties. Panic was able to get to that Transcendence, and 2 kills coming in from Wave check. That is an unexpected result.
Very, very unexpected. I mean, the Zarya that grabs second, we know usually gets a better result, but Team Envy, again, not prepared for Wave check to double down and try and win that fight out. Potentially, they thought that they would just go for that reset because Jaru had EMP ready. He could have thrown that EMP out if Team Envy was expecting that they might, have trouble finishing out that fight, but they thought they had it dead to rights, and Wave Check, again, surprising Team Envy.
Yeah, Panic did not have Trance for the beginning of that Graviton Surge, and maybe they're expecting the Transcendence to come out, so they weren't peppering as much damage as you would expect from Team Envy, but we're here, 4 minutes and 28 seconds on the clock for Wave Check to follow through here on Hanger, and Team Envy, though, have a ton of ultimates. They really only want to use the EMP this time around against Wave Check. They want to meter these out.
Exactly. The other option is to wait until Juby throws Sound Barrier and nullify the shields. No!
Ooh. EMP into Shatter, but Kraken is going to find 2 kills. It might not be enough as Team Envy still find themselves at a numbers advantage, but what it does do is take the ultimates away from Team Envy that they wanted to meter out.
Exactly. Team Envy are hoping to play this piecemeal, one ultimate at a time. Ellie vote now on the Brig rather than the D.Va, just throwing in a little bit of that frontal brawling ability. Crackalack can probably resign to a death. Yep. As Lessard yet again finds some dividends from those fire strikes. Envy have halted Wave Check for now, but the unfortunate thing is they just have this grab. Wave Check can play this patiently. They know that Jaru doesn't have EMP, so they have a big advantage in that tank v tank battle. They could easily push this, and Envy would have no choice but to cede space.
Jaru translocates back to the rest of his team. He's got to get some hacks on to Wave and Check. He does get one onto Kraken, and he's going to get deep next because of it. The defense matrix wasn't available for the rest of the team. Luft is going to get stunned. The Shatter not really doing much for him, but once again, Lulsish going down first in this fight. This has been the opening that Wave Check has been looking for the majority of their one fight start with taking Lulsish out first.
Exactly. That was not as successful of a grab as you would have hoped. Wave Check absorbed that damage, and now they're still pushing through the streets phase. They're already nearly past those troublesome catwalks where Team Envy can just hide on the high ground. See Fire right there looking for a mispositioning boot, but Crackalacken does fall.
Good pick coming in from the Team Envy side, and the rest will fall. So Wave Check already a minute taken off of that clock. I think they had 4.5 minutes, so that's 2 minutes off the clock already here in the second phase of Havana. Team Envy also looking very strong. Jaru is able to get to another EMP.
Yeah, and that's the win condition for Sombra Goat's compositions. You got to be cycling those EMPs. Really high caliber Sombras can actually get EMPs within a fight almost immediately after using it, just the last one. So Team Envy going to be again looking to take Wave Check out of system.
Ooh, the EMP is going to help them survive that grab because there's not going to be any abilities going, that need those cooldowns going into that Graviton Surge. Honestly, I think you could count that as a defensive grab that kind of works out. Usually it doesn't, but this time around it helps Team Envy survive that Graviton Surge, and they're actually going to survive this fight, and more than that, win it out.
Yeah, really good positioning from Panic early in that fight. We've been kind of, giving him a hard time for dying really early on, but he was, he was positioned perfectly, avoided that EMP, smashed that Q immediately when his team needed it, but unfortunately, what a sleep!
Was he stealth?
I don't.
I believe he was stealth. I believe I saw that color there. I don't feel like there'd be a reason for him to be up there. He might have been too close to where he did show himself and was detected, but without Jaru, who was almost at another EMP, this might be a lot harder for Team Envy, but Wave Check still need to come onto the high ground. They were going to play around the catwalks, but they were able to get Voltage before using that Shatter, so Jaru needs to come back, farm that EMP, get it onto the rest of the team if they want to hold here on this second point. But right now, with under a minute left, Wave Check looking very, very strong thanks to an amazing sleep coming in from Panic.
Yeah, an amazing sleep from Panic, a less amazing grab from Hegon, who kind of just tossed it out into the ether. Wave Check, more likely than not going to be able to take this point regardless, but you do want to be, just stocking your ultimate pantry for the third point fight.
Oh, EMP goes through 3 members, and the ones with ultimates are the ones that do get hacked. That's really good news for them. Jade falling first, but there is a Brig going down on the other side, right? So Jade getting that kill, Fire getting another kill. Gun and the rest of Wave Check finally getting that sound barrier to keep them alive. All of the ults for Wave Check have already been used, and Team Envy are primed to win this 4-0 after winning this fight outright. 15 seconds, though, there could still be some miracle stall tactics coming in from Wave Check, but it's not looking good.
Potentially, we saw Panic throw the nano onto Luft, but the grab comes out simultaneously. No way for Panic to throw in any of that hammer damage into that grab. Deathball, he was too far away, and Wave Check will be too far away to keep Havana's hopes alive here. Envy take it 4-0.
You know, it's so crazy how different a lot of these maps and even rounds went. Two times Envy had a perfect round with no deaths. And one of those times, Wave Check ran it back and finished Anubis, right? They almost kept Envy exactly where Wave Check, was stopped right there. It could have been a lot closer there on the fourth map, but Envy was able to kind of grit it out, right? Or grunt it out in response to our new team, Grunto Esports. Yes. Reminds me of Banjo-Kazooie. Did you ever play that game?
Yeah, where they just go...
Well, there's a Gruntalina, I believe, is one of the bosses there. Oh, but anyway, that's not what we're talking about. That's a tangent. Going back to this game, Wave Check looking good, competitive, I think more so than the 4-0 score really shows.
Yeah, exactly. They really found their footing on Havana. And whether that was because Envy were, trying some, role swaps, put Elivo onto the Brig, throw Jaro onto the Sombra, or potentially they were getting a little bit more fatigued, but still Wave Check were able to take advantage of those opportunities that presented themselves. And that's always a good sign. The worst thing that you would, that you could see from teams is just letting all of those free balls fly over their head, not even reaching their hands up to try and catch it. So Wave Check, doing really well for themselves. I'm really curious, how this team is going to develop in the coming weeks.
I think we can say that for literally every team we saw today, right? It is week one.